if they weren't side by side,
Right.
I don't think the average person would actually pick up with it. But, you know, once it gets through our low bandwidth here on channel 20, you know, I don't know how much quality is lost. You know,
Well,
I think every bit of sharpness from my end would be beneficial to have.
I absolutely agree. Yeah, I know how much is lost because the first time we ran 2 tapes from you in the camera, and so I saw I know what the show looks like in the camera, and since then I've started taking it off of the cable feed back from channel 20 is what I record, and so I'm making a DVD of it from channel 20 right now, and the quality is day and night.
Oh, you're making a DVD?
Right, because we archive the show.
Oh, you do?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you do that? How does that...
see the white cable running along
that's
before
just a DVD recorder?
Yeah, standalone DVD recorder.
Okay.
Yeah, just like a VCR, but it's a DVD.
And the white cable goes...
Is cable TV, and I've just got it on channel 20, and I'm recording it.
Oh, you're recording off the... Okay.
We have a cable.
Okay.
We have a cable feedback, and this is a very interesting thing. You may know, or you may not know, that Charter Cable charges us for a cable bill just for our cable feedback, just like anybody else. I'm going to tell a story. Wait a minute, I'm going to tell a story. This Mike the Punk, his big deal was he was the doorman. He worked in several bars here in Asheville, and he worked the door. And you know, you go to one club and Mike the Punk was working the door, and you go to another club and Mike the Punk was working the door, and you go to another club for a show and Mike the Punk is working the door. That was his thing. He was, you know, Mike the Punk was from New York City, and he liked to criticize Asheville, and you know, New York was so great and all that, you know, but why are you still here in Asheville? Well, he's not anymore. But anyway, his mother came down to visit. And she started getting on his case, and she says, "Is this all you're gonna be in life?" She says, "A doorman, you know?" And he says, "Listen," he says, "when you die and go to hell," he says, "I'm gonna be working the door," and he says, "It's gonna be $5 for you, just like anybody else."
That's a good story.
That's a good story. Isn't that a good story?
Oh, man. Yeah. Now, this is your mic? Your own personal mic?
Mm-hmm. I carry several. Do you see the black? Is the black box sitting over there, the ammo box? It's to your right, Nick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, grab the ammo box. I like to do. We encourage show and tell.
It's got a switch on it.
Yeah,
Do
it
they
does.
search you when you come in here?
Look at that. It's an ammo box with a switch on it. You ever seen that? And got plugs on it as well.
Yeah, I bet you couldn't get through the airport with that.
I bet I'd give it a heck of a try. But the bottom half of this is the power supply, and the top half is storage for the microphone. And I'll show you a little bit about what it is. In the top part of it here is a large diaphragm condenser, which is and the bottom half, and down at the bottom here is a transformer, a very special transformer, and then here's a little tube and tube circuit that I build into them, and I buy
really?
these microphones and I gut them and build my own.
Is that right?
Yeah.
How much do you sell one of those for?
Like
I need a good mic.
No, like $500.
Oh well, never mind.
Yeah.
I don't have any sponsorship, so I don't have any money.
Right, I know.
I would buy one if I really had some sponsorship.
Yeah.
But so you actually make that? Wow.
Yeah.
I see Nick's eyes lighting up when he sees it, because Nick is a bit of a technophile and audiophile as well.
Does this all make sense to you?
To a degree, it's very fascinating.
In back before the Second World War, the Germans made the finest microphones in the world. I think it's pretty commonly accepted. And hello, are you going to join the tea party? Will you come in and have a cup? Please come in.
I would love to, but I have to set up for a shoot.
Oh, where?
At the North Carolina Stage Company, Midsummer Night's Dream.
All right. Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. It's one of my favorites.
3 camera setup, so it should be great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was looking for the card.
Oh, they're using it on the AGR.
Okay.
Because I needed it earlier too. I wound
Who
up
are you
calling.
talking to, Doc?
Right here. Come in
Should I
here.
come in and say
Make
hello?
yourself known.
Just come in and say hi.
This,
Hello,
this is
everybody.
Peter, right?
Yes.
And
Peter
he's
Redmond.
and he's a member of our board and a member of the station. He is our membership board member,
That's right.
right? And
Are you the newly elected one?
I'm the only elected board member at present. There is one member who's newer than I am. That's Hunter Gooseman, who was appointed, I believe, by the county. But I'm currently the only member that's been elected by
Membership.
the membership. Yeah.
But we have a second one coming up, I hear.
We do. We have a second one coming up,
Which
I
we
believe,
look
at this
forward to.
annual meeting.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: do you have possession of or know the whereabouts of the wireless router?
I think it's in Pat's office still, and that's on
Have
my
you
list
seen
to set
it?
up. I saw it about a month ago.
Oh, good. Okay, you've seen the wireless router.
Yeah,
Okay,
so it's around.
all right.
all right.
Would you be interested in trying to get something happening?
Yeah,
So,
it's on my list.
okay.
I'll get to it. Sorry, it's taking
Okay.
so long.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't mean to hassle you.
Enjoy the
Good
tea.
to see you. Nice to meet
Thank you very much for dropping in.
All right. Bye bye.
Is he the guru that's maybe helping us get a wireless router so we can do
He's the guy who's supposed to build the firewall and make the wireless router thing happen
so
for
we can
him.
do a chat over internet?
All right.
People could ask questions.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's
That's
what
right.
we
So
were shooting for.
let's hope he's able to
Do that, yeah.
make something
You're not
happen.
doing woodwork with this router, right?
No, woodwork. No, it's all like programming and
Oh, yeah.
stuff. You know.
That's the only kind of router I know is
No.
One
This
that,
is a wireless
puts
router. A
code
wireless
over
router.
and
You would think it
codes
was
and-
battery operated. A wireless router, maybe a Ryobi or something.
to
Huh?
route something out.
Yeah. No.
It would.
This is a.
I'm not very technically advanced.
Well, anyway.
I didn't grow up with a computer for a pacifier, that's for sure.
Anyway, here I'll tell you the story on these mics is that, and this is just what I propose that they are. This is what I think that they are, and I really can't say because I really don't know for sure. But here's what it is then after the Second World War they split Germany in half, as you know, and the microphone factories, some went east, some went west on that. And if you know about communism, a big deal about communism is that they hold things in common, and one of the things that they hold in common is technology. Like we hold technology in common, and it's for the people and all this. And it is my assumption that they shipped the technology to build these microphones to their communist brothers in China, and the Chinese began to make microphones that I suspect that the pieces on here are just like the old German microphones that they probably the threads would match up, you know, just because they probably built it from the blueprints and stuff that the German microphones, you know, and in places where they may not have made a lot of technological advances, but they certainly share the technology, you know what I mean? Okay, now they build these microphones in China, and they're really cheap. Now they've made some technological changes, and one of the things that they did was they took the guts out. They replaced the guts with solid state electronics instead of tubes. So and the material that they use to make the diaphragm on the thing is they can make a very thin, only 3 micron thick diaphragm on that makes actually a superior diaphragm. Okay. However, the solid state electronics were really not superior to the sound of the German electronics. So I buy the microphones cheap, and I gut them. And I rebuild circuits that were similar to the old circuits back into them.
When you say cheap, like how much?
How much?
How much is the unaltered version from China?
Unaltered version?
Yeah.
You can buy this in its unaltered version, which is still a great microphone. Okay, for $75 or less.
Really? It's not bad.
Surely probably for $69.99, maybe even less, maybe $50, maybe $40 on sale. Could you imagine that? It's cheap.
Is it XLR cable?
Well,
with the old- with the-
not on
with
this
the original
version.
style that you get?
Yeah, the originals run on phantom power, and they used regular XLR. This is this one has to have extra power to run the tube. It has to have high voltage on the tube, and it has to have more than just the signal from the mic and phantom power. You got to heat up. Has to have filament voltage, and it has to have the high voltage, and it has to have the signal. So you got to have a lot of pins on it.
It is.
But anyway, so the originals on these microphones, because they sound so good, and there's not really a lot of them around, but because they sound so good, the old ones, people are paying like $20,000 for originals in like.
Oh, really?
In mint perfect condition. They're like probably the most sought after microphone.
Is that right?
For really fine recording and stuff like that. They were. All right, now what are we going to do with that hot water? Huh?
So let me ask you, man. You said a minute ago you're using.
Shall I
you're
put
not
more
using
tea in the
Premiere.
big pot?
Sure.
Is
You're
it
using
out?
Adobe to do your editing.
Adobe Premiere
Yes.
Pro.
Is it out?
Adobe Premiere Pro.
What should I put in there?
So when
I
you
don't know, you're
film
the
your
best
stuff,
scientist.
are you downloading it in your computer at home, or what? What are you doing?
I mean, yeah, I have I don't know, I got about 1,250 gigs of hard drive space and externals. And
How
everything.
much?
1,250. Yeah.
That's a lot.
1,200.
And I've had to dump some of that already.
What have you got? How many hard drives?
I've got one 500 gig external, two 250 gig externals, and 250 internal.
Wow. That's a lot of external hard drives.
I fill it up. I've just recently got this 500, and I keep all my AVI files.
Yeah.
And because I don't have a way to pull my tapes back and redo it again,
Mhm.
you know, I got to keep all that
Footage and everything.
footage and everything, all my clips I keep, and I go back and use them. And
See, that's why I want to start storing stuff on
DVDs.
DVDs, cheap storage, you know.
yeah,
So you do like Adobe Premiere?
I do.
Because I've been thinking about buying. I'm actually using Windows Movie Maker.
Oh, really?
What I'm doing is mostly meetings and issues
Uh-huh.
like that, and so for that I find it to be adequate without having to come in here and do studio time.
Well, yeah.
And that really takes an hour-long project, so you might as well look at 4 to 6 hours minimum.
Oh, tell
And that
me.
is, if you make a mistake, then you're here longer.
Well, it took. You know, I used to drive all the way in from Black Mountain and do all my editing here too. And my first show took 80 hours to edit.
Wow.
Oh,
How long was just the show?
28 minutes.
what's a learning curve?
Well,
There's
that was a
learning curve.
huge learning curve. My second show still took, probably took 40 or 50 hours. My third show probably took 40 hours.
Yeah, but
And,
that time you put in was a very learning.
Yeah. And so this seventh show, I did it all yesterday. You know, and polished it out today for an hour or two.
How often do you air your show?
Well, it airs once a week.
Once a week.
But
Is it a new episode every
no, I
week,
can only
or-
do one a month, and so that policy's changing. And
What policy?
well, about series,
Yeah, I was-
a series needs to be once a week or once at the most every 2 weeks, and that's impossible
hard.
for me to do.
That's-
So I will end up losing my time slot, and
Fill that up.
which is, you know, there are a lot of people. I do have a lot of friends. A lot of people do watch my program, and it is hard to.
Sorry.
You know, I don't think it. You know, once they start, if I bring in a program, they'll throw it into a slot, whatever's open, and it may come on
Well, that's
Sunday morning at 9 o'clock.
well. You
And-
know, here's something. As a possibility. If you can't do 2 episodes every 2 weeks, basically one every 2 weeks, right? Why not just wonder if they would consider doing like your show that's guaranteed to be on the first Thursday night of each month. That way you have one regular time slot, not 4 in a month, but one show will be on one time, for any show for that matter. How would that do? I mean, if they keep the same criteria.
Well, I don't know how
It's better than nothing.
I know that they
Well,
were
look at
talking
that.
about even maybe charging people for a series because it was a privilege. A series. Well, there were a few series shows out. I mean, you know,
We try and get one done every week.
yeah, you know, and they, in order to have one, I don't know. Oh, yeah, they could,
think
you know, they
charging
could if
somebody
you could
to
say.
do a series-
I see what you're saying.
I'm
now.
saying have one time slot per month guaranteed
for
your show where you could.
you could actually have 4 people signed up for that time slot. You could have 4 shows signed up for, let's say, Tuesday night at 7:30, Wednesday night at 7:30, and I would always be guaranteed the 3rd week in
When
that
did they
month.
talk about charging somebody for a series?
That's just something I heard.
Well, I think we're
Man,
looking
I
at
don't
some
think that's
funding
gonna go
issues.
over.
I don't know. I don't
Well, it
know.
depends on the funding. You know, a nonprofit, you got to get the funding in.
Yeah.
But
But you know that's not a bad idea. You see what I'm saying?
I see
I'm
what you're
taking you a step further and saying that
no, I like a guaranteed one slot for the month. Your show, first Thursday, 8 o'clock every month. It is your 30-minute period.
Right.
Now through the rest
then-
of the month, it may show for sporadically.
Yeah.
But you know that one night your show will
the
be
first. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. But you know, you could tie up that. You could have 4 different shows a month. You'd have 4 different
If
shows.
you're able to do that many programming now.
No, I would still have the first week of every month on 7:30. Let's
Yeah,
say
7:30,
the
whatever.
second week every month. Another person that has a 1-month series would be guaranteed that slot.
Yeah, I mean that would.
So
work.
you're filling up the 4 spaces. You're getting a series. You're getting new programming every single weeknight.
I'll give you a good situation. Here's
Not a
my
bad idea. I
situation,
like that.
Van.
Did
Here's
you
my-
hear that? URTV.
Well, here's my situation, Van. I filmed the Weaverville Town Council, and I would very much like to have a regular time slot, at least one night per month, that everybody would say, "Hey, we want to see
I
what's
think
going on in Weaverville."
I'm
He's got enough jittery. So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
that's
this is
how I-
something
no, I don't
to.
want
This
I don't
sounds
want-
like a good thing to bring up at a board meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm.
I think is that
It's a
tonight?
pretty good idea.
Is that tonight?
Now, what is it? What is it? Say it again.
No,
Okay.
the board
You know-
meeting isn't tonight. Peter Brosney was going to videotape
Rocky.
some Shakespeare.
Oh, it's tomorrow
Right.
night. It's tomorrow night, if I'm not bad mistaken. Third Thursday.
Yeah.
What we were saying, John, was
The Rocky Rocks.
in order to have a regular time slot.
I'm fine. That tops me off.
Everybody doesn't want it. Okay, go ahead.
In order to have a regular time slot, you got to submit 2 programs per month,
At least
at least to keep your time slot.
Right.
Well,
for a
that's,
series, and then again, a series is only 13 episodes too.
That's right.
So if you did, even
That's
if you did
true.
once a week, at the end of 13 weeks, you're out of that time slot anyway. They're going to give it to somebody else.
Not if you keep going.
Not if you keep going.
Yeah. If
If you
somebody else comes up and says at the end of the 13 weeks, if somebody else comes up and say, let's say your show was on Thursday at 11.
But if you've got
and I
programming,
said I want Thursday at 11,
Mhm.
and as soon as your 13 weeks is up, if I come in and request it, I think it goes to me.
Well,
no, not if I've had it first. I think
Well, I
not.
don't know.
Because they want
I-
everybody to have a chance. They don't want you to.
that's what's on paper, but there's everything's negotiable one way or another.
Yeah, well.
And if somebody came in after 13 weeks and said they wanted our time slot, we'd fight dirty.
Yeah, well, I think that's what they're talking about because there are so many members, and you have had your you've had your time. You've had your time. Now
Well,
they're
I
going to
can
say,
almost
okay,
see
we
that.
got
Now, I'll be honest with you.
571 people,
Now, I
and
can
if
almost
say every
see
one
that.
of them came in and said, I want
Mhm.
put my TV show on.
Well, now here would be a good question.
I think that probably is going to be at least partially dependent on your ability to keep cranking it out, because we're trying to crank it out.
Is that part of the new rules, or is that
As part of the new rules.
Okay, see, I hadn't seen that yet.
No,
I need to.
They
I
really
really need to look
they
at the
haven't
new
ironed all
rules.
that out yet.
I need to
What-
look at
A good example of that would be Global Report.
Mhm.
Okay? Now,
All right. You think they're going to bump if you come in and you say you want to do Trail Explorer
Yeah.
during their time? You
Yeah.
think they're going to bump Global Report's
yeah, that'd be
time? I
my
bet they
first
don't.
question.
I don't know.
Or
I
conservative.
don't think they
I don't
bump
see it.
AGR, because
I don't see it.
AGR is producing. They put it a new episode
but-
every
but-
week. They're
but-
making it happen.
Well,
Exactly.
at the same time,
And-
if they're doing a rotation, I mean, you could throw a conservative talk show in there and say, hey, they had their shot.
That's
You know,
right.
if that's the case.
And you'd be
but
just the one to produce it.
No, I didn't say that. I'm just saying.
Well, I think in terms of putting a conservative show in there, I don't think that'll happen. Putting conservative show right afterwards, that's perfectly reasonable.
Well, if they're rotating in a row though in the 13 weeks,
But
they should be available. If that's the rules.
The thing is, hard and fast, AGR has a proven track record of being able to
Doesn't
produce
matter.
programming.
It doesn't
And
matter.
I don't think that they would trade off something for something that they're not sure is going to produce to the same
Well, I-
capacity.
If that's the
This is-
case, then
this
it
is-
shouldn't be. It
this is
shouldn't
something
knock
they're-
his show down now. It shouldn't knock his show down if that's the case.
They're,
I don't think it should be a criteria of a AAA show or a 3-star show. You know.
I think the criteria they're going off is the quantity, because right now your TV wants programming. They want
Right.
a certain amount of
right, so that
different
they don't
variety
have
to
that.
put on
Yes,
the
they
air.
do. But see, once they do start getting the programming, you know, then it's you've had your shot. Your 13 weeks is,
Well,
you know, it's time for somebody else to have a shot at it. 571 people.
Look,
Let's
you
say
gotta
they all have
realize-
programming.
One thing, Matt, on
Programming is
on
programming.
Asheville Globe Report, you got to realize that is a paid staff doing that show. Okay,
That
is
makes
a
so much
paid
of a
staff.
difference. You got
So I mean,
crew.
if we kind of have an even playing field, then we have an issue there. You know, these are semi-professional. They're getting paid to do this, whereas membership here are mostly volunteer. You'd hate to see a
Now-
staff come in here and say, I'm going to do a music show, and say, I can do more quality, and I'm going to knock Mountain Dungeon out. Just because they can do they're paid, they're all together, you know, I'm not saying I don't agree with their programming. I'm just saying they've done a real good job, and they've got picked it up syndicated, and I think that's great. It's great for the station.
Well, the one thing about they're getting paid is I was under the impression it was still a nonprofit. Like what they're trying to go for is just breaking even,
They're
which I find breaking even is reasonable.
oh, absolutely. But you know, that's one of the reasons they can do programming, because that's a paid staff.
Mhm.
You know, that's a business. It's coming in here and using the equipment. Okay.
But
So-
that actually has been done before. My understanding was if you're going to do something like that, though, URTV gets first shot at airing your stuff. It cannot be
Oh,
aired in any other.
absolutely. Well, I don't. Yeah, I can understand that. Sure.
Which I find that reasonable. Now the thing is, like I say, the way I look at it, if you're actually producing, if you're actually making it happen, I think that counts towards something. Mount Dungeon, we have filmed our 14th episode, we have aired our 6th, and we have bands sporadically scheduled to come into the studio all the way into August.
That's fantastic.
Yes. So I have no problem with it being looked at from a results-oriented perspective, as long as we manage to keep it happening.
Well, like I say though,
And if somebody is producing a show,
that's not a guaranteed thing anymore.
It's-
even if what y'all have done,
Mhm.
I don't think it's going to be a guaranteed thing.
And I'm just saying, if that's going to be the rules, then you have to keep it across the board. And you may have a 5-star program that's rated as far as Asheville Global Report, but if you're going to play that ball field, then they're subject to be changed from a different time slot too. That's
Right.
what I'm saying.
It's already happening to me.
Is it?
Your,
Most of my
your
program,
time slot is changing.
Yeah.
but I still think if
I've
you
had
just
mine.
had one time slot per month,
Yeah, and if you had 4
One-
people that utilize that time slot, and you'd have that's I
Do a
like that
rotation.
idea. See, that's the
I
way
thought about
I could
that.
do it. That's the way I could keep my time. It wouldn't show every week, which
no,
is fine.
but you can say first Thursday,
Yeah,
7:30,
which is fine.
You'll
That's
see
right.
me.
That's right.
So it don't matter what day of the month it falls on, the 5th, the 10th, or whatever. It's
That's
the
right.
first Thursday.
That's exactly
Yeah.
right.
and
That's not a bad
that
idea.
sounds doable, and that could probably
I like that.
be achieved.
It could be done right now. As a matter of fact, if I got together with 3 other people, I could do it. It doesn't have to be a policy. We could all get together and say, let's put this time slot down. Maybe.
Well,
No,
everything around
you
here
really
is
have to-
underfunded. And that's a big issue right now. Everything from the very studio itself is underfunded to every show is underfunded. Even the shows which are funded are underfunded, and but some funding is better than none at all. Most of everything that goes out is unfunded, totally unfunded, Everybody's doing it out of their own pocket. Everybody's going broke quicker than you can do anything around here, and that's almost universal. Almost everybody is just going broke. And so, so this is like a big call. We can do that. Can we call out for, like I wish the place where I get the tea would sponsor me, and I don't mean by giving me the tea. But it would be nice to to run them in the credits, you know. And
You actually run credits?
I don't. I don't run any credits. But, and the reason I don't run any credits is because I don't have any sponsorship, and as long as I don't have any sponsorship, I don't run credits. Although I understand in the new rules you're supposed to.
Right. Well, I gotta go.
All right. Thank you so much
for tea party.
for coming in.
I'm gonna run. I'm not even gonna drive. I gotta get some of this caffeine.
Did you enjoy the tea party?
It was something else. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked the tea party. Yeah.
All right.
I never thought about drinking tea with a bunch of mad scientists before, but it's unusually different.
We bring it up to a higher level.
Yeah.
Indeed.
But I enjoyed it. Thanks a lot. And be sure to watch my show Wednesday night at 7:30. It may not be 7:30.
Give me a pen, I'll give you my number.
Oh, yeah. Let's do that. I don't know where I could get a pen.
Oh, you want one of my pens?
Eeny, meeny,
You are.
Just for a second.
Okay, yeah, about this one right here.
Okay.
Here, hide that. Stick that in your pocket or something. Okay. Will it fit in one of your pockets? Do you have?
Yes.
Will you remember it or not?
Yes.
You'll remember this?
Yes. Well, what is this that I'm hiding?
It's subversive.
Give me a call.
Okay.
If you ever get in a situation where you need something.
Okay.
If I can help you, I will try my very best.
You'll remember
Okay.
it.
I
will
It
remember.
won't be just lost in the jacket pocket.
No.
And the next time you're going to a funeral, you go, oh, there's
If I
that
get a good
DVD
start
in
on
it.
Thursday.
I'll wear
which is
this.
the day
I'll
I
wear
had-
this
Okay.
maybe before a funeral, but I always.
I tell you,
I obsessively,
Thanks.
compulsively pat my pockets down on a regular basis. in
Including
fact.
the jacket.
Yes.
But that-
If I take
I
it from
wanted to
my take-
compliment you on the shirt today.
Thank
Nice,
you.
nice
Thank you.
piece of
We
shirt.
could do
there.
something like that. I think it would work. At least it's a good option.
I will
Yeah.
give that
I
a
always
They might
look
want
for
to
options.
fine tune it, but it's an option.
Yeah, that is a good option.
He's got a camera.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's
that-
got a
Well,
camera.
we were talking more like getting a time slot because I want
Yeah,
to
the
have my
time slots are
camera.
great. I think it's a great thing there. So anyway, y'all have a good tea.
maybe you could talk him into quitting his job.
Good to meet all of you. See you, Doc.
All right, come back.
Okay.
Keep doing these Trail Explorer. We do love the Trail Explorer.
Well, good. I'm glad you do. Thank y'all.
And we'll be looking for those ramp recipes.
Well, I just had some last night, and man, I'm surprised it didn't.
How big? Hey, how big were they?
They're just right. They're just
Just
right.
right?
They're,
A little bit. Okay,
That's big, yeah.
it's big.
you know, when after the leaves die down, and that the bulbs can get that big, huge.
So I've never seen one that.
I know. 'cause
Never
you
done
don't know
that.
where they are.
Yeah, you don't know unless you stick in the ground. Go
They
back.
get Huge.
Huh.
They're not very tasty though.
No.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, there you go. We've had the ramp report.
The ramp report.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to do that.
This may not be the first ramp report of the season either.
No,
you
no.
know?
I'm actually going to go and film the Barnesville Ramp Festival out in Barnesville.
Right.
We'll show them cooking and just a local thing that local folks can relate to.
So you're going to come on with